So here we are again at another holiday time of year coming up, Christmas, and it just, these holidays always lead me to just asking so many questions about what are we really doing here? What's the depth? What's the meaning? Why do we as society do what we do, and what are we teaching our children by this? It's so easy just to keep doing a tradition, and passing that along, but it's like, why, what, just like so many things come up in child raising about like, what am I teaching my child? And, Christmas, we have like these two narratives. We have the Santa narrative and we have the Jesus narrative going on, and, they're both kind of off in this whole thing. And I mean, first of all, the Santa thing, I talked about this in my tooth fairy video of just like, why are we lying about this whole story? Like, and people bring up to me in comments like, oh, like, don't take away the childhood magic, like that's like part of being a child, like having this imagination and this whole story, don't rob your child of that. And I'm not trying to rob my child of magic. I want to give them the real magic, the real essence, the real light, the real thing, not just some story that like doesn't even make sense. So some guy is going to drop some presents through our chimney that we don't have, and he's going to give it to everyone on earth, and we're going to leave out milk and cookies for him, and he's going to take it, and he's been watching you this whole time to see if you've been good or bad. It's like, doesn't that seem a little weird to anyone? Like, we're teaching them like, oh, we're being watched over, being good or bad, being naughty or nice. I don't know, just like, it all feels a little bit off to me. And I think that we can give our children the magic, the essence, the spirit, without having to do this whole weird story. I mean, from what I understand, Santa Claus, part of it is based off of a real person who existed in like the 300s. And he was born to some really rich, wealthy family, and his parents had died. Saint Nicholas of Myra, something like that. Look into it. And he was very wealthy, and he would give gifts to different people and kind of do it just humbly and like, slip. I heard a story that like, someone was going to sell their daughter to slavery because they needed money, and he like, dropped gold coins through their window into, it fell into a stocking that was hanging to dry. So that's how like the stocking thing happened. But yeah, it was about this real person who was very generous with all this wealth that they had and just gave it to different people, so that's like a real story, and something that we can like really teach our children about, like, hey, we can actually really give to people that are in need. So that's like something that comes up with this time of year. But for me, I'm like, okay, instead of leaving out some milk and cookies for this Santa guy and saying he's going to eat them while they're sleeping at night, why don't we like make some cookies together, make some hot cocoa, and go like serve it to, I mean, for us, we live on a street that has a lot of foot traffic. So I want to like, hey, let's make this hot cocoa and cookies and like pass it out to people that are cold, like walking down the street. Like that's like a real thing. You can like really meet these people and like have an experience and like show your children this. That feels like has some energy, and it means something more than just like, oh, you're gonna go to sleep tonight and like we're gonna put out these milk and cookies and then be gone in the morning and Santa had them. It's like, and then later on we're like, oh yeah, that was just a whole story. We were just, I don't know. It just seems weird to me, okay? Like, I feel like we can teach our children this generosity and this essence by actually like doing these things and not have to have this whole story and about it. But then you could be like, oh, okay, well, Christmas is the time that Jesus is born. But that's kind of off too. And look into that also, because there's a lot of people who study the Bible and study these scholarly things, that like based off the Bible, like it shows that like Jesus isn't actually born at that time anyway. It's talking about like the shepherds being out at night. They wouldn't have been out at night in winter. And talking about like the census happening when, Jesus's parents had to go back to Bethlehem for the census, that wouldn't have happened at that time of the year either. So it's like that didn't actually really happen at this time either. So, you could say, oh, we're giving these gifts to honor Jesus, but that's not it either. So both of these stories are just not it. And we are forgetting the real essence of this time of the year, that in these natural rhythms of like, oh, this is the solstice. This is like December 21st, like this whole time of like the darkest night, the darkest, the most in the Northern Hemisphere, the most, longest night, shortest day of the year, and then it starts getting light again. So it's this whole energy of like going into this darkness, going into these deep, dark places, and then coming back with light. And that is, what, Jesus is representing, bringing the light. But, like, how can we like use this time and this cycle to like teach our children? Like, I don't want to rob them like, oh, okay, we're not going to have any fun, we're not going to have any presents or anything like that, but I want to give them something that means something. So like for me, something that I came up with this year to try this out of like, okay, well, what about, instead of having this one day where you just give a whole bunch of presents and they're overwhelmed with this whole stack of presents, it's like, what about like doing like this whole 12 days of Christmas, but have it be like each day is representing a different aspect of the Christ. And when the Christ is not Jesus's last name. Christ means, this light that lives within all of us, this light of Creator that is within us, that Jesus represents. But this light is within us all. And what about these 12 days of Christmas? Each day can be a different theme to show our children like, hey, this is an aspect of this light of Creator within you, So one day can be, a light of creativity, of beauty, and get them some art supplies of like showing like, hey, this is one aspect of Creator making the world this beautiful place. And then another day could be, a day of, the aspect of light of being this caretaker, being this nurturer. I have daughters, so like, oh, a doll, like teaching them and like bringing up each day, allowing it to be like an actual conversation to bring up, these parts of themselves, to teach them who they are, to teach them that the magic is within them, that light is within them. Use it as a time to actually just give the real essence. Let's bring back the real essence of these times of the year to actually let it mean something to them. Okay, I've been going for a while now, but I hope you guys feel me on this. And I'm really interested in what you guys do to celebrate, to give meaning to these holidays, just interested in what you guys do too. So I'd love to hear from y'all. Bye.